I'm Zach Miller, this is MillerVanAlstyne. We're seniors at the University of Michigan and we're making this video for Psychology 401, Mind, Brain, and Spirituality. We're going to replicate an experiment shown to us in class on remote viewing.
Okay, so now that we got that serious stuff out of the way, I'm going to lay out our first experimental design. So we're going to start off by having our friend here, Evan Millman, randomly select 3 places from a list drawn up by a separate third-party source, and he's going to travel to those places. And while he is gone traveling, he's going to be taking pictures, recording all kinds of stuff about his journey, while Zach Miller and I are going to be here, writing what we think he's doing on paper and any other type of information that happens to come to us.
So in this hat here we have a series of folded up pieces of paper with our targets for Evan to travel to. So right now, just to validate, he's going to draw these at random. Keep in mind we have no idea what these targets are, somebody else made these. And he's going to exit out that door so you can watch him go. Good?
Okay, and off he goes. Okay, so it's been about 10 seconds. I'm in this room right now and completely isolated from Zach. I have some paper, some pencils and pens, and basically I'm going to try to think of what Evan is doing right now and try to illustrate that on this piece of paper, and we're going to compare when he gets back.
Yeah, so I climbed out of the apartment, went to Elbow Field, took some pictures there, crossed some train tracks, up Hoover Street, took a left, headed towards the stadium, took some pictures of some interesting stuff that I saw along the way. I had a little photo trip at the big house and then came back. On the railroad, I saw this abandoned building that had some graffiti on it, so I went closer, took a picture of that, and then came back.
So you can see it has some interesting things. We got some gigantic glob of possibly water or something. The word lake, some squiggly yellow things, possibly McDonald's arches, possibly something else.
I just kept seeing a bike rack with a bike attached to it and it had a bent wheel. I kept seeing, couldn't tell what it was. It looked like maybe power lines. Also a lot of sidewalk in my remote viewing. So what we're going to do for this trial is same design. We're going to all group meditate, and then Evan's also going to select locations from this list that were generated earlier at random, go to those things, and we're going to do essentially the same remote viewing that we did last time and hopefully get some good results. And I've selected a breathing meditation with, I guess the guide is Valerie Renee. It's a 5-minute exercise, and my thoughts are, if we are to do this meditation all in the same room, then maybe by synchronizing our breathing and calming our minds all together, we'll kind of achieve a common wavelength amongst the 3 of us.
I call forth a beautiful healing light to surround us.
Here's the room that I've been working in, the desk I sat at, the chair I've sat in for this exercise. I've kind of started each of these by coming into this room and then just sitting back in the chair I'm in, looking out, taking a couple deep breaths, calming myself down, eventually shutting my eyes, trying to get myself into the head of Evan as he's out doing his thing.
I've got about 15 pictures. So I see some beer cans on their side, some shoes strung up to a telephone wire. There's a couple people walking with some scarves. It's kind of cold out. A bus, help wanted sign, shots of alleyways. an ATM, shoes on a street sign strung up, and some columns.
Well, here's the overall. That's my attempt at drawing a muscle and a hand. I saw a very definitive box. It's like a frame almost.
So I'm going to run through the drawings I have here. I kept seeing almost like a defined flannel print in my head. There's some kind of cylinder of some sort. It was a gray cylinder, so as soon as a trash can, it looked like an old metal trash can on its side.
So we're now at the conclusion of this experiment, and it's been a pretty interesting time examining the influences of remote viewing and the possible effects of meditation with it. While we were not able to prove anything conclusively through our experiments, we definitely got some things that were interesting to us. Personally, the two most interesting things were, in my drawing, I had written JFK and about the Peace Corps, and Zach Miller wrote about the grassy knoll and even drew a picture of it. And I think that after having gone through a meditation together kind of shows a link forming between two of us, though it's really difficult to verify that.
Yeah, that was actually something I wasn't aware of at the time either. Wasn't aware that the exact wording from the assassination of JFK was that he was shot from somebody standing on a grassy knoll. So that's actually a pretty interesting connection there too. What I found, the second trial was more relaxing for me, which I kind of let me focus more on the visuals I was having. I did find an interesting connection between a flannel pattern that I had drawn as such and a picture that Evan took that involved this girl's scarf that had a similar flannel pattern and even color scheme to this, and a cylinder on its side that I pointed out to. We'll highlight those similarities in pictures. I guess what my take on this is it could be considered remote viewing phenomenon, even though it's not quantitative evidence, but then again, you could look at it from a cognitive science perspective that the brain does try to make correlations and connect things, even if they don't have those true similarities to them. So all in all, it was an interesting experiment. Definitely something that you should try for yourselves and see how it goes. It's kind of fun, interesting. The results are even surprising. Thanks.